Webwoods is this beautiful, expansive area, reminiscent of some of the best moments of the first DKC, but it's a land not long for this world, with its dying leaves and dusty red earth now home to insects and vermin. Kind of fitting for the final stop of Gloomy Gulch. This is part 31 of Overthinking Donkey Kong Country 2. The name should tip you off as to what this level's all about. After a multi-layered area filled with neeks, crunches, the newly introduced green cutlass, a couple of zingers and a kaboom to boot, you're forced into a space with an obligatory squitter barrel. And it's as squitter that you'll experience the rest of the level. Honestly, it's probably the easiest level in all of Gloomy Gulch, and that's entirely because squitter makes most enemies and obstacles seem trivial. Be liberal with your platforms and projectiles, take your time, and don't be an asshole. Job done. Zingers, both yellow and red, make up the main opposition from here on out, but there's an impressive and eclectic variety of enemies backing them up. From the aforementioned cutlass to cannons, crooks, both grey and jade kaboings, and a shit ton of mini neckies in the back half. I've said it many times before, but DKC2 really does step up its enemy game from its predecessor. I really wish I had more to say, but I don't. Webwoods is kind of like Squitter's answer to Ratley's Rattle Battle. It's a dedicated Squitter level that plays to his strengths, and I love that. It doesn't need to do anything more than that. That's enough. I will say that the DK coin at the end is a bit of a ball twister, but it is what it is, I guess. It just sucks that you kind of have to go through the level all over again if you mess it up. Webwoods completes the triptych that started with Ghostly Grove and continued on with Gusty Glade. As I hinted in the ladder, the picture isn't complete till you make it to Webwoods, where the gradual death of the forest can be fully seen. Ghostly Grove is vibrant and green. Gusty Glade is the same palette, albeit desaturated. By the time you reach Webwoods, it's all earth tones. The leaves are dying, the earth is red and nutrient poor. It would not surprise me if, left unchecked, all of Gloomy Gulch looked like this before long. And with Webwoods completed, we're now essentially done with Gloomy Gulch, and by extension, the second act of Donkey Kong Country 2. As I've mentioned many times before in this series, I view Gangplank Galleon as the first act of the game, a familiar environment to get us up to speed. I view Crocodile Cauldron as the threshold between the first and second act. We're not quite setting foot on unfamiliar Earth just yet, we're instead passing through a sort of liminal barrier. Krem Key marks the beginning of Act 2, to me, which itself is broken up into a sort of 3-act story within a story. Krem Key is the Kong's first true steps on Crocodile Isle, where they're greeted with a sort of ship graveyard. There are some subtle paranormal elements at play, but mostly it's still just riffing off the pirate theme. Into Crazy Kremland, the Kong see the closest thing the Kremlings have to a home, to infrastructure, to culture. And it's so telling that all they've really got to their name is a dilapidated theme park. It's hedonistic, it's nihilistic, it's short-sighted, just like everything else we've seen of the Kremlings so far, even going back as far as the first game, and the effects their actions have had on Donkey Kong Island. Crazy Kremland is this beautiful juxtaposition between jovial, colourful atmosphere and soulless, dead-eyed self-destruction. It's tragic and chilling in its own way. And finally, we get to Gloomy Gulch, the graveyard of trees and the faintest remains of a civilization greater than anything else we've seen so far. Like I said before, I feel like these three worlds tell their own self-contained story. They also, to me, feel like the meat of DKC2, where the game finds its rhythm and truly shines. The best music is here, the best level atmospheres. It just feels like the true essence of DKC2. That's all just my opinion though. After the next boss fight, which is one of the coolest in the game, the final act begins. The Kong's assault on K. Rool's Keep. Until then, be excellent to each other.